Here's a thought that might rearrange everything you think you know about your life. You aren't reacting to your circumstances. You're living inside the assumptions you quietly accept as fact each day. The instant you start assuming that things always turn out in your favor, reality has no option but to rearrange itself around that inner conviction, whether or not you ever grasp how it happens. Stick with me to the end, because what follows can untangle years of fear and self-doubt, and show you exactly why the world eventually agrees with whatever story you keep telling yourself. Picture this. Starting right now, you decide that no matter what shows up in front of you, no matter what news you get, what delay you hit, or what obstacle blocks your path, you're going to stay loyal to one single idea. Things always work out for you. Most people can't even picture living that way, because they were conditioned to let outward appearances run their inner world. They wait for evidence before they'll believe anything. They wait for results before they let themselves feel safe. They wait for their situation to shift before allowing themselves a moment of confidence or peace. But pause and consider that this whole approach might be upside down. What if your circumstances aren't work creating your state of mind? What if your state of mind is creating your circumstances? What if the life you keep experiencing is simply a mirror of whatever you state? What if your circumstances aren't been quietly assuming inside yourself? If that's true, then deciding that everything always works out for you isn't just positive thinking. It isn't naive optimism, and it isn't pretending reality doesn't exist. It's a deliberate choice to live from a state of mind that favorable outcomes naturally grow out of. Take a close look at your own life, and you'd reach that every pattern that keeps repeating has been held in place by an assumption. Someone who assumes people can't be trusted keeps running into proof of exactly that. Someone who assumes success is a grind keeps hitting roadblocks that seem to back that up. Someone who assumes opportunity is scarce keeps noticing closed doors and dead ends. Meanwhile, someone else moves through that very same world, believing life is on their side, that answers always show up, that opportunity is everywhere, and somehow, their experience looks completely different. That difference has nothing to do with luck or fate or outside conditions. It comes down to the inner state each person is looking through. The assumption acts like a lens, and the lens decides what gets noticed, what gets accepted, and what eventually becomes your lived experience. Most people spend their whole lives fighting shadows. They try to force change onto the outside world, without realizing the outside world is just reflecting something they've already accepted on the inside. So they get frustrated. They've done rearranging the reflection, while leaving the source completely untouched. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, unhappy with what looks back at you. You can argue with that reflection all day, and it won't change a thing. It only changes once the source changes. Life works the same way. When you assume that everything works out for you, you're changing the source. You're shifting the inner position you interpret events from, respond to challenges from, and project meaning through. At first, nothing on the outside looks different. Familiar situations keep showing up. Unexpected things still happen. But your relationship to those events starts to shift. Where you once saw a wall, you start seeing a bridge. Where you once saw an ending, you start seeing a turning point. Where you once braced for problems, you start expecting solutions. That subtle shift matters more than most people realize, because most suffering doesn't come from the events themselves. It comes from the meaning we attach to them. Two people can go through the exact same situation and end up living in two totally different realities, because each one assigns it a different meaning. One calls it a disaster, the other calls it a redirection. One calls it rejection, the other calls it preparation. One calls it failure, the other calls it a step on the way to success. The event never changes. The experience does. Why? Because your state of consciousness shapes how you interpret things. Your interpretation shapes your emotions. Your emotions reinforce your assumptions. And eventually those assumptions solidify into your actual experience. That's why choosing to assume everything works out for you is so powerful. It interrupts the fear loop. It breaks the habit of reading events negatively. It quiets that automatic expectation of things going wrong. Most people unknowingly rehearse disaster all day long. They picture what could go wrong, brace for disappointment, mentally prepare for failure, and then they wonder why they're anxious all the time. But your consciousness doesn't sort between what you fear and what you want. It simply responds to whatever you keep dwelling in. Every single day, countless people spend hours parked in worry, frustration, resentment, doubt. Without even noticing they're practicing those states, becoming fluent in expecting hard times. Then they're shocked when life keeps giving them exactly that. Now imagine instead waking up each morning and making one simple decision, that no matter how things look, everything is unfolding in your favor, that every delay is hiding a purpose, that every difficulty is carrying a hidden gift, that every apparent setback is quietly moving you towards something better. Watch what happens. Your mind settles. Your reactions soften. Your confidence grows. You stop burning energy fighting your circumstances. You stop pushing against the current of events. You start moving through your days with actual trust. And trust is a creative force. Fear shrinks your awareness. Trust expands it. Fear hides possibilities from you. Trust reveals them. Fear leads to impulsive choices. Trust leads to wisdom. Fear makes you abandon your vision early. Trust lets you stay with it until it's real. So this assumption doesn't just change how you feel. It changes how you act. And once your behavior changes, your outcomes start changing too. A lot of people believe security comes from controlling every last detail of life. But real power doesn't come from micromanaging the details. It comes from mastering the state you meet those details with. Someone who assumes life works out for them has a serious edge. Temporary appearances don't send them into a tailspin. When trouble shows up, they stay grounded. When things get uncertain, they stay composed. While everyone else is panicking, they stay steady. And because they're steady, they can spot solutions that panic makes invisible to everyone else. Life tends to reward a calm mind over a frantic one. A relaxed mind sees openings a fearful mind walks right past. A confident mind notices paths a doubtful mind can't see. A peaceful mind receives ideas a troubled mind never gets access to. This is why the state you live in matters so much. You're not just reacting to life. You're actively shaping it through what you assume. Every assumption you carry has creative power. Every belief you accept colors your perception. Every state you dwell in leaves a mark on what you eventually experience. Say someone tells you your goal is impossible. If you take that at face value, your behavior shifts instantly. Your drive weakens, your imagination shrinks, your actions get hesitant. The assumption produces the matching result. But if you stay loyal to the belief that things work out for you, their opinion loses its grip on you. You keep moving forward, you stay open, you remain receptive. And because you're open, new opportunities find their way to you. The assumption keeps you moving. Movement builds momentum. Momentum produces results. Most people never stop to realize how much of their life has been quietly shaped by assumptions they never chose consciously. They picked up beliefs from family, absorbed expectations from the culture around them, accepted limits from things that happened to them in the past, and then mistook all of it for objective truth. But assumptions aren't permanent facts. They're just states, and states can change. The moment you become aware of an assumption, you gain the power to swap it out. If you've spent years assuming life is hard, you can choose something different. If you've spent years assuming things never work out, you can choose something different. If you've spent years bracing for disappointment, you can choose something different. The power isn't in rewriting your past. It's in changing the state you'd feel, looking at the present through. Every real transformation starts with a shift in identity. Somebody who keeps assuming everything works out for them eventually just becomes someone who naturally expects good outcomes. It stops being forced. It becomes effortless, natural. It becomes who they are, and reality just keeps mirroring it back. People often wonder why certain individuals seem to have all the luck, why opportunities seem to find them, why solutions show up right when they're needed, why circumstances line up in ways that feel almost too convenient. Part of the answer is the assumption they've been quietly living in. They've trained themselves to expect support instead of resistance. They've gotten used to things going well, They move through life anticipating success rather than failure. And because they expect it, they notice the paths that lead toward it. The world just responds differently to people who expect it to cooperate. Not because they have some special power the rest of us lack, but because their state of consciousness organizes how they perceive, behave, and ultimately experience life in a way that naturally produces different results. So tonight, before you drift off, ask yourself something simple. What assumption have I been holding on to that isn't serving me anymore? And then swap it for one powerful truth. Everything always works out for me. Not sometimes. Not only when conditions line up. Always. Even when I can't see the reason. Even when I don't understand how. Even when everything in front of me suggests otherwise. Everything always works out for me. Stay with that assumption long enough, and something remarkable starts to happen. You stop treating good outcomes like rare exceptions, and start accepting them as simply how your life works. Your mind always drifts toward whatever it's come to see as normal. If struggle became normal, struggle keeps showing up. If disappointment became normal, disappointment keeps repeating. But once success, harmony, support, and resolution become normal inside your consciousness, life starts organizing itself around that new expectation. A lot of people think they have to wait for every outside condition to change before they're allowed to feel secure. But security has to be built on the inside before it can ever show up on the outside. Someone who waits for proof stays dependent on circumstances. Someone who assumes the outcome they want is already theirs becomes independent of circumstances. One is stuck reacting. The other is actively creating. This is exactly why you have to hold on to the assumption that everything works out for you, especially when the evidence in front of you says otherwise. It's easy to believe once proof has arrived. That doesn't take any faith at all. The real test comes when your senses are reporting one thing while your inner conviction stays, and that's the moment you get to choose. Bow to appearances and let them decide your state, or stay loyal to the state you've deliberately chosen. Most people fold right here. They start strong, then the second an obstacle shows up, they drop the state they were building. Right back to old worries, familiar fears, the same assumptions that created their old results, and then they wonder why nothing ever changes. A seed doesn't turn into a tree the moment it's planted. There's a stretch of time where nothing visible seems to be happening. But underground, real work is already underway. Assumptions go through the same invisible growth period. The outside world might not reflect what you stir. Accept it on the inside right away. But the movement has already started. The mistake most people make is digging up the seed every day to check on it. They plant an assumption in the morning and start doubting it by afternoon. They feel confident today and afraid tomorrow. They declare certainty in one breath and entertain uncertainty in the next. That back and forth weakens whatever impression they were trying to build. Your job isn't to force an outcome. It isn't to manipulate the details. Your job is simply to stay faithful to the state. Assume everything always works out for you, and keep living from that place. When a delay shows up, stay faithful. When an unexpected bill lands, stay faithful. When someone tells you no, stay faithful. When the path ahead gets murky, stay faithful. Every moment you stick with it strengthens the new state you're building, until eventually it feels so natural that doubt just stops landing. You start noticing shifts in places you never expected. Conversations go differently. Ideas show up out of nowhere. The right connections appear at exactly the right time. Solutions arrive from directions you never considered. Coincidences start piling up. Doors open. What once looked impossible starts inching closer. At first, your logical mind might try to write all of this off as coincidence. But as the pattern keeps repeating, you start to notice something deeper. Reality isn't nearly as fixed as you assumed. It's fluid. It's responsive. It reflects consciousness in ways most people never even consider. The outer world is constantly echoing what's happening inside. If someone keeps feeling abandoned, life tends to mirror that back. If someone keeps feeling unsupported, circumstances tend to reinforce it. If someone keeps feeling unworthy, opportunities somehow seem to slip through their fingers. Not because life is punishing them, but because consciousness is simply expressing itself through experience. Change the state, and eventually, the reflection has to change too. Understanding this takes the fight out of it. Instead of battling appearances, you start working on the source those appearances come from. You stop asking, how do I force this to happen, and start asking, who do I need to become for this to happen naturally? That question changes everything, because every outcome you want already has a matching state of consciousness attached to it. Someone who naturally lives in abundance occupies a different inner state than someone who expects lack. Someone with genuinely loving relationships occupies a different state than someone bracing for rejection. Someone who keeps succeeding occupies a different state than someone who assumes they've shums or will fail. The results are different because the states are different. And when you assume that everything always works out for you, you're stepping into one of the most powerful states a person can occupy. A state of trust, of expectancy, of inner security, one that refuses to hand final authority over to something as temporary as an appearance. Think about how much energy people burn resisting their own lives, arguing with circumstances, replaying bad moments over and over, bracing for disasters that haven't even happened, staying emotionally glued to outcomes they don't even want. And then they wonder why peace feels so out of reach. Assuming everything works out for you breaks that whole cycle. Instead of rehearsing problems, you start rehearsing resolution. Instead of dwelling on obstacles, you dwell on how things turn out well. Instead of identifying with struggle, you identify with the win. That doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It means refusing to hand them the final say. An obstacle only matters if you believe it's the end of the story. A delay only feels discouraging if you assume it's pointless. A challenge only feels overwhelming if you forget the creative power that's Aztec's Titotians actually inside you. The second you remember that your consciousness comes before your experience, everything shifts. You stop feeling trapped by your circumstances because you understand circumstances aren't permanent. They're expressions of a state, and states can be changed. A lot of people underestimate what imagination actually is. They treat it like fantasy instead of recognizing it as the actual workshop where reality gets built. Every achievement was imagined before it ever showed up in physical form. Every invention started as an idea in someone's head. Every building existed in someone's imagination first. Every real transformation was pictured before it happened. The world is constantly showing you what's already been accepted on the inside first. So if you want a life where everything works out for you, start imagining from that place. Picture the good news arriving. Picture the unexpected opportunities. Picture the wins. Picture relief where there used to be worry. Picture confidence where there used to be fear. And don't treat these as far-off possibilities. Feel them as if they're already true right now. Feel the emotional tone of someone whose life consistently works out in their favor. How would they carry themselves? How would they speak? How would they respond to a temporary setback? How would they look at their own future? They wouldn't be living in constant anxiety. They wouldn't assume disaster lurking around every corner. They wouldn't spend their days bracing for bad news. They'd carry a quiet certainty, a calm confidence, a deep inner knowing that no matter how things look, life is working its way toward resolution. That's the attitude that actually transforms your experience. Not force, not struggle, not grinding effort, but staying identified with a new way of being. Once you get this, you stop chasing outcomes and start living them from the inside. You stop begging reality for permission to succeed. You stop needing outside proof before you'll believe in the future you want. Instead, you accept it inwardly first. And once it's accepted, it's already on its way to becoming visible. The assumption turns into a conviction. The conviction turns into a state. The state turns into an experience. And the experience feeds the conviction even further. That's why the moment that matters most is always right now, not tomorrow, not next year, not once things get easier. Now. Because every single moment hands you the chance to choose a new assumption, occupy a different state, and decide what story you're going to keep telling yourself about your life. Will you keep repeating the story of struggle? Will you keep identifying with what's limiting you? Will you keep bracing for disappointment? Or will you pick up a new story? One where life supports you, where solutions show up, where opportunities multiply, where everything always works out for you. That choice might look small, but the ripple effects are massive, because every assumption you accept eventually seeks a way to express itself. Every state you occupy seeks to become embodied. Every inner conviction moves toward being confirmed on the outside, and because reality keeps reflecting whatever your consciousness consistently accepts as true, the assumption you choose today has the power to shape experiences far beyond what you can currently even imagine. So as you take this in, stop asking whether reality is going to cooperate with what you want. Stop waiting on your circumstances for permission to believe. Stop letting temporary appearances tell you what's possible for you. The outside world was never the author of your story. It's only ever been the messenger, delivering back whatever you've already accepted inside yourself. From here forward, make it your deepest conviction that everything always works out for you. When the road ahead looks uncertain, assume it's leading somewhere better. When a door shuts, assume a bigger one is already opening. When challenges show up, assume they're quietly rearranging themselves in your favor. Refuse to hand your inner certainty over to conditions that are only temporary anyway. Remember, reality can't keep contradicting a state you're faithfully holding on to. Stay in fear, and it'll reflect fear back. Stay in doubt, and it'll reflect doubt back. But hold steady in the unwavering assumption that life is on your side, that everything happening is ultimately serving your highest good, and that every outcome is leading you somewhere better. And reality has no choice but to echo that belief right back to reality. Carry this truth with you. You're not here to just react to life. You're here to decide the state you experience life through. Choose certainty. Choose trust. Choose to expect good things, and hold on to it with unshakable faith. Because the day you truly, fully assume that everything always works out for you is the day reality begins rearranging itself to prove that you were right all along. Neville's voice.